So if we're in a relationship with someone and we feel like I have to take care of them. My boyfriend needs to get a better job. I'm gonna go online and I'm gonna apply to all of these places for him. My boyfriend has no money, so I'm gonna just go ahead and give him the money that I got. I only need so and so amount for my bills, and you know what? Maybe I don't need to pay my light bill this weekend, but because he needs it, I'm gonna give it to him. Yeah. Or maybe it's a friend who, at 10 o'clock we go to bed, and at 10:05 they call, and instead of us hitting ignore, we feel like we're responsible for taking care of their issues and answering the phone whenever they call.
Yeah, that's a big one. Overextending yourself, prioritizing others' needs, right? So like that was a great example. I need to pay my light bill, but you need the money more than I do, right? You're prioritizing somebody else's needs. When you sacrifice your own well-being, right? When you have difficulties making decisions. And we see this really, really commonly with couples. There tends to be one person that becomes the decision maker versus both partners having a discussion and weighing in on the decision together. That's a sign of healthy codependency. When we can communicate, we can figure out what decision we're going to make and the pros and cons associated to that decision. And even if we disagree, we still agree to work together, right? That's healthy codependency. But when it comes to, I'm going to make the decision because I make the money, I'm going to make the decision because you don't know what you're doing. These are the signs of unhealthy codependency. And if we're saying these things and they resonate with you, just be aware.
Be aware, and if you need some support in how to change, message us. Go to our website, www.bloodsoempowered.com. Send us an email and let's set up a consultation.
Yes.
Because we want to help. Also, if you're not sure what type of communicator you are, because we all need to know. That's how we're going to go through life and have healthy relationships. You need to go and listen to our previous podcast titled, How Do You Communicate? Do you communicate well?
Yeah.
Because we talk about 4 different communication styles. Typically, if you're a passive communicator, you may really connect with an aggressive communicator.
Yes. Especially if the codependence is unhealthy.
Those
are the pairs that we tend to see. We have one aggressive communicator, one passive communicator, and oftentimes the passive communicator turns into the enabler.
The cycle.
Right.
The cycle begins.
And when we talk about relationships, understand there's so much more underneath codependency. The Cartman drama triangle is a major thing associated to relationships, and maybe that's something that we need to focus on in the future. I think it'd be really helpful for folks to understand their roles in relationships, especially with codependency. With that being said, codependency isn't the only form of relationships we have. There's also independence and dependence. And oftentimes, a lot of people will ask me the question, is it bad to be too independent? And I'll tell them yes. Again, it goes to balance.
Yeah.
Right? So we want to have balance in all relationships, including the relationship with ourselves. We do want to depend on ourselves and rely on ourselves to do things independently, like practicing our hygiene. I don't want anybody else brushing my teeth for me.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a form of being independent. Some people actually aren't capable of doing things independently. And this is when they are labeled dependents, right? And the only dependents that we know are children. They're allowed to be dependent until they're 18, right? And the other population of people that are allowed to be dependent are those that are disabled, whether they are seriously mentally ill or they have some type of physical ailment that causes them to be disabled. They are allowed to be dependent, right? They are allowed to say things like, you make the decision for me.
Yeah.
Because I can't do it for myself. Would you want a 3-year-old making a serious decision about purchasing a car? No, absolutely not, right? But if I'm an adult, I need to have some form of independence so that when I'm in a relationship with somebody and I'm making a decision with them, I have the independence to say something like, these are my ideas and opinions about purchasing a car.
And it's really the confidence. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like having the amount of self-esteem to where you trust yourself. I think that with codependency, it's so, like, it's a given to have mistrust. Because you have mistrust with yourself and also with your partner. Because codependency is developed and it really starts during childhood and it's associated to trauma. So if in my childhood, I wasn't able to trust the one or the two people who I'm supposed to trust, mom and dad, why would I learn to trust someone else if they're the ones who are literally, they gave me life, they created me? So it's so incredibly difficult to age and to not learn to develop that type of trust. And it's only going to happen with intention. It's only going to happen with intention. And with practice.
You gotta practice. You have
You
to
gotta
practice
practice.
trusting other people.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Even if you grow up in a household where it's functional and it's healthy, trusting is a very difficult thing because once somebody breaks that trust, are you kidding?
Everybody is perceived to be untrustworthy.
Yeah.
It's codependency really touches into something very deep. And so again, really ask yourself that question. Am I codependent? The answer is yes. Right?
Are you codependent?
Absolutely. Oh, how you doing? Codependent to you. How you doing?
Have you ever been codependent in an unhealthy
Absolutely.
way?
Absolutely. Absolutely. X is for a reason. Hey.
So, okay, because we're going to, listen, Dorina didn't know I was going to ask her these, but this is just what feels right. So we're going to get a little personal, go as personal as you feel. So you have been codependent in an unhealthy way. Do you feel like it was coming from your end or from your partner's end or from the two?
Always both. It's always both ways. It's always both ways. Relationship is two people.
At what point did you realize there was a codependency issue?
When my 80-20 was off balance. So I do a lot of 80-20 rules, which means 80% of the time things are going well, 20% of the time things aren't that great.
Mm-hmm.
And en la vida loca, nothing is ever 100% perfect. So we're always going to have 20% of some type of negativity. And that was way off. I want to say it went to like 60-40.
To where like you were the 60?
Where 60% of the time things weren't going well in my relationship.
Got you.
And that's when I realized, okay, there's definitely some codependency going on because I was willing to prioritize his needs and whatever he needed over, and this was during graduate school, over my education, right? I was willing to, and there were some times where, you know, we all do it where we call out of work or we skip class to hang out with our boo or our partner, our loved ones, right, or our sister, depending on what's going on.
Yeah.
But we'll take a personal day, and I realized there were too many personal days being taken.
Oof.
Right?
That's for sure a sign.
Yeah.
That's for sure a sign.
And it impacted my quality of work, right, and my ability to focus, and it also took my